Hello learners, today we'll be talking on a topic addressing the needs of the stakeholders in formulation and transition of school subjects. The objective for the module today will be that you'll be able to identify the needs of school subjects in the school curriculum, explain the needs of the various subjects in school curriculum. You will be able to list the different stakeholders in curriculum design and implementation, and you will be able to describe the roles of the stakeholders in curriculum design and implementation. What is education? What is the goal of education? The goal of education is achieved through the curriculum. The curriculum encompasses the knowledge and the pedagogy, the transactional strategies and the subject areas which it covers. The subject areas covered vary according to the age and the level of the learners, but there are certain basic subjects which are taught across the levels so that the skills for the life are inculcated in the learners. The schools, they organize these learning experiences which are designed in the curriculum for the construction of knowledge, for fostering creativity, innovation among the learners. The subjects are taught in an interdisciplinary manner so that the knowledge is connected across the disciplinary boundaries so that that facilitates insightful construction of knowledge. So when we design the curriculum, we have many subjects which are included like languages, sciences, social sciences, mathematics, physical and health education or physical and health sciences. The National Education Policy 2020, which is the new education policy, it talks about the foundational literacy and numeracy for all children by the time they achieve the grade 3, and they call it as an urgent national mission so that the universal foundational literacy and numeracy is developed in all children, all primary school children by the year 2025, and immediate measures like a multi-pronged approach should be used for developing that. In fact, they talked about establishing a national mission on foundational literacy and numeracy by the Ministry of Education, and there has to be an implementation plan, and in making the implementation plan, all states, the union territory, governments, everybody who has a stake, everybody who is responsible for implementing it should be involved so that by the year 2025 all primary school children should have this foundational literacy and numeracy. Then what is this foundational literacy and numeracy? This is the basic skill, basic know-how of reading, writing, speaking, counting, the basic language know-how, the arithmetic and the way of thinking, the logical way of thinking, how to reason, how to solve problem, all that throughout the primary school, the middle school curriculum. And for that adequate transactional strategies should be used. There should be a robust, continuous, formative and adaptive measurement system. Assessment should be in sync with the kind of transaction strategies you are using, and it should not be one time or sporadic effort, but continuous effort should be done. There should be specific hours dedicated to development of these skills. There should be regular activities throughout the year rather than sporadic one-time activities, and the teacher education should also be catering to these kind of skills among the teachers. Then why should we teach language to anyone? Because language is the basic for communication. I am here communicating to you through a language which I am comfortable with, through a language in which you are comfortable. So it is basic for communication. It is also basic for acquiring knowledge. How will I know that something is happening? How will I know about new things? So for acquiring knowledge, besides acquiring knowledge, it is also the way you think. It is also the medium of your thinking process. Your thoughts, your ideas are organized in the language, the language you are comfortable with, the language you are fluent with. It also defines the social relationships. It's not only the cognitive development which can be achieved through good language skills, but your social relationship, the way you communicate with your elders, the way you communicate in society, all that is dependent on your language skills. And the better and the refined your language skills will be, the more effective will be the communication. In language, there are 4 main skills: listening, speaking, reading and writing, and they are in a flow. Like, to know something, to know some new thing, you have to first listen. So that is the first skill a child learns. You must learn to listen to someone. Through listening, you comprehend what the other person is saying, you come to know about things, you have certain ideas, and once you have certain ideas, you are able to organize your ideas, you are able to speak, you are able to communicate through the verbal medium. And once you are fluent with the listening and the speaking, you have command over the language, then you start reading, which is the written communication. You are able to read, you are able to acquire new knowledge through reading books. And once you have done with the reading, you are for the writing. In writing, you are able to, it's like almost the highest level of the language skills, where you are communicating with others through the written words, and that written word has to be very logical, systematic, coherent, good in language. It should not be gibberish, it should be able to convey. So language should be taught in a systematic manner. The various commissions and the National Curriculum Framework 2005 has talked about the 3 language formula. The idea behind this is that the home language or the mother tongue is the best medium for building foundation for education, and this applies to all the languages which are the mother tongue, even the tribal languages as well. The Indian society has a multilingual character, and it should be used for developing proficiency in languages. The NEP, the new education policy, the National Education Policy 2020 has reiterated the 3 language formula, which will continue to be implemented, keeping in mind the constitutional provisions, the aspiration of the people, the region, the union, and everybody who is concerned with it. The 3 languages will be as per the choices of the states, the regions, and of course the students, as long as 2 of these 3 languages are native to India. They have said again that no language will be imposed on anyone, neither the state nor the individual. In fact, if a student wishes to change a language later on, then he or she will have to show that they have acquired the basic proficiency, basic proficiency in the language by the secondary school level, and then they can change it. The NEP also emphasizes the multilingual character of the Indian society because it promotes national unity. It promotes unity in diversity. Another subject which is across the levels is the mathematics. Like languages, mathematics is also all-pervasive subject. You can find mathematics in all the subjects you are teaching. It is an abstract subject, and for teaching it, you need concretization that comes from the social and the natural sciences, from the life around you. For example, if the concept of concept of half, if you tell a child that this is 1, then he will not be able to understand unless you tell this is 1 chocolate, 1 pencil, 1 house, or this is half bread, this is half chocolate. So for an abstract subject to be taught to the learners who do not know about that, you have to use concrete examples that come from the natural and the social sciences, the everyday life. Mathematics builds certain skills in the learners which help in reasoning, which help in logical conclusions, which helps in drawing inference. So it is supposed to be very systematic and logical subjects, and those are the skills which we need to inculcate in the learners. In fact, rather than giving the knowledge of mathematics, which is basically the formulas or the mechanical procedures, what is emphasized is mathematization, that is the ability to think logically, formulate hypotheses, handle abstractions, and that should be the aim of teaching mathematics rather than simple formula. Through the mathematics, we try to develop in children the ability to think, reason, visualize, handle abstractions, to formulate problems, to solve problems. Another important subject is science. Science is all around us, which are needed for the whole life. Science is both a process and a product. The processes of science needs to be inculcated like observation, classification, measurement, communication, inference, prediction. Science should be able to develop in learner these skills, and these can be acquired if we use appropriate methods and processes which nurture the thinking process, which nurture curiosity, which nurture the creativity. And for that we have to give them enough activities to examine, activities to observe, activities to analyze. So they in the beginning they will make mistakes, they will not come to the right inference or conclusion, but through the process of doing it again and again, they will learn these skills. Through these skills, we also can take up the issues of environment around us, and whatever, say if you are using project method for teaching science, then they will be able to say analyze the water in the, how much pollution is there in air in their area, what is the pollution level in the pond, how to remove that pollution level. And sometimes if the students are quite inquisitive, curious, and they are able to take the help of the community, they may come up with the data which can also help in the making of the government policies. So the kind of methodology which should be used for teaching science should be basically experiential, experimental, so that they are able to learn these skills. Another subject is the social sciences. Man is a social animal. Earlier we used to meet each other only physically, but now we are also meeting everyone virtually. But the crux remains the same, that is man lives in the society and must know about the ways of society, the values, the perspective, and the knowledge which is existing in the society. Through these, one should be able to build a peaceful and progressive society. The methods which are used for teaching social science should also be inquiry based, experiential, scientific inquiry method, so that one is able to analyze, one is able to observe, analyze, formulate problem, find solution, get into inferences, and so on. So basically we are trying to inculcate in learner critical thinking skills, critical thinking process, decision making, critical reflections on social issues, not to believe on hearsay, not to believe on superstitions. They should be able to have moral and mental faculties. We should develop human values like freedom, trust, mutual respect, respect for diversity, justice, equity, equality. All these values need to be inculcated in the learners through the social science subjects. They should be given opportunity to think independently. They should be given opportunity to discuss, to argue, learn to agree to disagree. All these values which you have inculcated will reduce the frictions in the society which are there. Social sciences should promote proactiveness, critical reflection on social issues that have a bearing on the creative coexistence between individual good and the collective good. Discussion and participatory mode of teaching and learning should be used. Pluralism, diversity, unity across the diversity, disadvantage, inclusive. These values, these notions, these social issues should be inculcated through the teaching of social sciences. And how these can be inculcated? When we use methods that promote creativity, aesthetics, creative perspectives, which enables the learner to draw relationships between what was there in the past and what is there in the present, to understand the changes which are taking place in the society. For that, sometimes you can have role play, dramatization. The approach to learning, the approach to teaching learning should be open-ended, keeping in mind the social realities. There should not be some kind of a barrier or closeness to whatever you are teaching. One should be open to the different dimensions of social reality which are in the class, discuss it, work towards creating awareness, self-awareness towards themselves and the society. Another important subjects which we teach is health and physical education. Health education is very important very critical. It is critical for the overall development of the child, and it should be taken seriously and not should be one time attempt but should be done continuously. I remember earlier, if there were some kind of extra classes, the games period or the health education period was the first one to be done away with, but not anymore, because everyone realizes that health is supreme. If you are in good health, then other things follow. And in health education, all that about the awareness about the human body, the ways to lead healthy lifestyle, and in a very comprehensive, in a holistic manner, it should be taught. The games and sports are also important part of the health and physical education. Games are not only for fun, but they are there for developing a holistic character in the learners. It generates awareness about their body, about the environment. It inculcates in them the values of cooperation, the team spirit, being strong, being able to fail and try again, because that is what is needed in the society, to cooperate, to collaborate, work together. All these are inculcated through the games, and that is why we should let the children play. Then all the curriculum frameworks have been talking about these subjects, and they said that the teaching learning strategies should be learner centered rather than the teacher centered. Constructivist teaching strategies is what is specially mentioned focused by the National Curriculum Framework 2005, where the learner constructs knowledge and the teacher only facilitates the textbooks, the related material. All that material is developed according to the learner-centered constructivist pedagogical approach. The teacher is no more the sage on the stage, but the guide or the facilitator on the side. He or she is no more the sole agency of curricular transaction, but facilitator of learning. So for that, one has to use methods like debate, discussion, project, and give them experiential learning so that they are able to construct knowledge. The learners are able to construct knowledge based on the learning experiences being provided to them. A three-pronged strategy thus should be used. The setting up of objectives. The objectives which are based on the constructivist pedagogy. The constructivist pedagogy should focus on the construction of knowledge by the learners, and teacher being the facilitator, and all the books, the content which are available, which should be provided, should be based on that. Then facilitating the teaching learning process. It should be recast. It should no more be the teacher centered where the teacher is telling everything, but the learners should be facilitated to arrive at knowledge, and the teacher should be guiding them, should be facilitating their path to the construction of knowledge. And the third being the learning assessment, which should be basically competency based, process based, rather than the what the learner has written as a text. So it should be basically process based, more innovative rather than the simple paper and pen kind of a technique. The next important question which comes here is who are the stakeholders, and who are stakeholders? The stakeholders are individual and the institutions who are interested or are affected by the school curriculum either directly or indirectly. These stakeholders are directly and indirectly responsible for shaping the curriculum. They are responsible for designing and implementation. And there are many stakeholders for the curriculum, like the learners, the teachers, the parents, the community, the government, and the society per se. The stakeholders, let's start with the first one, who are most affected are the learners. Learner is placed at the center of the curriculum. They are the main stakeholders, and because they are the most affected by it. The learners can learn from the curriculum if they are provided adequate opportunity to learn from them, to have experiential learning, to be active, to be interactive. They are provided opportunity to internalize the learning experiences, and how they are provided, in which sequence they should be provided, that has to be decided, that has to be designed and implemented by the teachers. The main consideration should be, is the objective achieved? Has the learner learned after we have taught them, after we have facilitated their learner? That should be the main point. Other important stakeholder are the teachers. Teachers should be given more freedom in designing the curriculum. They should be involved in the curriculum designing process because they are the real implementer of the curriculum, and they should be given freedom to have their own instructional strategies. Like you have said that the learner should be given, you should be taught in an experiential kind of a teaching learning methodology. So that experiential teaching learning methodology may be the project method or discovery method. That kind of a freedom should be given to the learner. They should help the learners to discuss significant themes, debate issues, draw inferences, and should be able to design learning assessment in innovative ways. The assessment should be competency based. It should not be basically paper and pen kind of a technique, but using more of innovative, like draw a concept map or create something where they are trying to assess their competence, whether they have learned the skills or not. They are able to assess their logical thinking and all that. As the teachers are the real transactor of the curriculum, their knowledge, their experience, their competencies are central for the curriculum transactions. Their attitudes, their feeling, their perceptions are also very important. If the teacher doesn't feel positively towards the curriculum, then he or she will not be able to transact that curriculum in the same spirit, and that is why we say that teachers should be involved. They are the ones who know their learners the best, and that is why they will be able to facilitate the constructivist approach in the best possible manner. So while the boards, the state, the authorities, they are the ones who decide as to these skills should be inculcated in learners, it is the teacher who will be implementing it, and that is why taking them into confidence, involving them in the curriculum designing is very, very crucial for the success of the curriculum, for the successful transaction of the curriculum. In fact, for transacting the curriculum, there should be a support from the school management, school administration, because if they need to go out of the classroom, go in the ground, school ground for transacting some curriculum, then the school authorities should always facilitate. Their conviction is very important. Facilitation is very important for actual implementation of the curriculum. Another important stakeholders are parents. Their voice is the deciding factor. They are the ones who decide as to which school their child will go to, what kind of curriculum is being followed in the school, the way it is followed in the school, and they are the best supports of the school because the learner will be learning from the parents as well at home. So that continuity has to be maintained, and if the parents are involved in the process, then that continuity of learning is there, and that is why they are made the part of the school management committees or the SMCs in schools under the Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act 2009. They are the ones who inspire and in fact force the schools to give the best possible experiences to their learners. Another important stakeholder is community. Participation of the community members in sharing local and indigenous knowledge in school curriculum and experience in any subject area is very important. The people who are there in the local community, if they add to the kind of experiences they have, then the learning becomes much more meaningful for the learner. Through the local examples, learning is strengthened. Thus, the community resources are very important. Whether the resources are physical resources or the human resources, both are very important. The richer and the varied the community resources are, the richer will be the learner's experiences. The more strengthened will be learning, the more effective will be the learning among the learners. Thus, community members are included in the school boards, and their say is very important. The inclusion of social workers, counselors in the school management committees as a part of community members should also be there, so that the richness, the kind of knowledge they bring into the school curriculum implementation is there. There should be adequate monitoring. Innovation should be exercised. The initiatives by the local stakeholders should be there, and this will enrich the curriculum which is transacted in the schools. The citizens, the community is made up of citizens who will energize and empower the schooling system, and in fact the resource utilization will be the most efficient. We cannot forget government as the stakeholders. For the school, the local government is very important. The municipal government officials, the directorates, the district officials, they are the big supporters for implementation of the school curriculum. If we go further, the state government, the ministries, the department of the central government, they all play a key role in framing and implementation of the curriculum, and at the local level, it is the local government, the Directorate of Education, the departments. In fact, for higher education, the UGC, the professional regulation bodies, they all have a say in the curriculum design and implementation. In fact, the National Curriculum Framework for School Education document is recommended by the NEP 2020, and it is under the process of being formulated. Just to conclude, curriculum is very important for transacting the goals of education. It should be learner-centered, wherein the learner are able to construct knowledge and the teacher is the facilitator of that knowledge. And that knowledge is facilitated through the subjects like languages, mathematics, sciences, social sciences, health and physical education. And through these subjects, skills are developed in learners, the life skills, skills like observation, skills like experimentation, drawing inference, analysis, all these skills which will be there for the life. They are also part of the life skills, and being logical, being systematic, all this is developed through all this is inculcated in the learner through these subjects. And there are many stakeholders to the curriculum like learners, teachers, parents, community, the government, and curriculum is designed and developing, addressing to their needs. So all these things are important to be kept in mind while designing the curriculum. Thank you. Happy learning.